So right now, I'm pretty freaking furious. I know in my review last week I said that they probably would not kill off a member of the original cast. Well, this episode proved that right there was a lie. And right now, the character that they did kill off, and it actually made me pretty angry because if you guys don't know, I freaking love Aoi whatever her last name is. But this character with my favorite one from Danganronpa 1, and the fact now that like she's dead, I just can't believe it. Because I know that a lot of people, would say that maybe she should have been killed off in one, and even I gotta agree that like her and the psychic guy with the crystal ball, I am somewhat shocked that like both of them did make it out of one. But the fact now that she was our second victim, I just can't believe that, man. And just seeing the way that, she was killed, like seeing that knife just stabbing to her chest and all that blood, man, that right there. And Nagito's reaction, or Makoto's reaction, that right there was like the icing on the cake. Because you definitely know that like several red flags were like being raised before they fell asleep. And so of course I knew that, it was coming, but still, like, the way they went about it, man, like, those feels and the aftermath of that, I just can't believe she's gone. And so, right now, the episode itself, it picks off from last week where we all know that Chisa is dead. And so, we learn now that there are 3 certain rules that they all have to go by. And so, the first rule is that these bangles that they're wearing, after a certain time period, they'll be put to sleep by the sleeping gas not sleeping gas, but it's like the sleeping drug that's injected into their bodies. And so during that time, while they're all knocked out, there'll be one person who actually, who actually wakes up, and that person will be, given a certain amount of time to actually kill someone. And so that right there is crazy. And so we already know that the first victim was Chisa, but we still have no idea who her attacker is. And so right now we learned that there was like the third rule, and that right there was the forbidden actions, where if you commit one of these forbidden actions, you will actually be injected with this lethal dose of poison. And so that right there is also, something crazy that only someone like the mastermind behind Monokuma can actually come up with. And so we see now that everyone was like kind of suspecting that, that Makoto was behind, Chisa's death. We had like 4 people actually point to him. And so, like while that was going down, we have that big black guy with the really like funny voice. He was like walking around at like he was like walking around checking stuff. And we see now that the math teacher, the main course teacher that we see from the despair side, he actually pointed to this little girl who's in a wheelchair. And we learn now that this little girl, she's actually like a genius programmer, because she was also one of the ones who actually worked on the Neo World program, and she also was the one who actually made Usami. So that right there was also very interesting to see. But then we have Monokuma actually, wreaking havoc once again, because we see him go from being on this big monitor to actually hacking, this girl computer. And so what he does is he actually makes Usami back into an image of her from Danganronpa 2, and that right there was funny. But I do wonder just how in the world is Monokuma being able to do all this stuff. And so right now, this girl, like we do learn that she's also behind the security for the Future Foundation, and she was all prepared for like someone trying to hack from the outside, but she never thought someone would hack it from the inside. So right now, there was a definite traitor, and so unfortunately, all eyes fall on Makoto. But just seeing that one teacher, point to her where no one else got suspected as well, to me, that right there, I do want to keep an eye on her, because this girl, she definitely might be more devious than we all know. But regardless, now everyone was like looking at Makoto because obviously he was definitely the one who was helping their Brennan of Despairs, when they first went into this program to like try to change them. And so right now we see that the former high school president, he actually told Makoto to like kill himself, and to me that right there was like insane. But we see now that this big musclehead guy, and so right now him and the former president, these two are definitely on my shit list because they have definitely like pissed me off, especially the musclehead, because this guy is definitely like more brute or more bronze than like brains, because we see him now going to Makoto, like actually grabbing him, and you just see that right now he will like actually kill him. And so of course now like we see that we have the other people like sticking up for Makoto, like we have Aoi actually sticking up for him, and we see now that right there actually pissed off the musclehead, and we see him now going to her. And then we have the guy with the bags under his eyes. He actually got between them and was saying that violence against women is not okay. And so right now we see that the musclehead was like actually agreeing with him, but that right there was a ploy, as we see him, like using his knee to like ram it into this guy's stomach. And so right now we have the black guy returning, and we see him now watching this. And so apparently his forbidden action was like witnessing violence by the other participants. And so because of that, we see that the poison was like being injected into his body, and we see his skin turning purple. Like we can see that, some veins were like popping up. And so right now we have him grabbing the musclehead, but unfortunately he cannot do anything because he died. And then we have the girl who actually has her mouth covered with something. Like we see her trying to heal him, but it was like way too late. And not to mention those two characters who act like a couple. Apparently that chick and this like doctor whatever for the Future Foundation, these two like definitely have some kind of past that we don't know about. But I definitely know that right there will like be brought to the light by one of them killing each other. But pretty much now with the black guy being dead, like they were definitely going to go after Makoto once again, because we even have like the former president pulling out some kind of like sword hilt, and we see like a chain come out of it, but then after that it became like a sword. So these two, like him and the musclehead, they were definitely going to like try to kill Makoto. And so right now we cannot allow that, because he is definitely like he's definitely hope and good luck, so we definitely need him. And that's where we have Kyoko like using this famous where we have Kyoko using this fire extinguisher to make like this smoke screen, and that right there allow Makoto and Aoi to actually run out of there. And so like while this was going on, we actually have what's his name, the Great Gozo, and this guy is a true bro. So I do hope he would not be a killer or be killed, because I definitely like this guy a whole lot after this episode. But we see him now trying to defend Makoto, and we even have him stopping like the musclehead and the president at one point, because we have the musclehead pulling out this pocket knife and we have him charging at Makoto, but then we have the Great Gozo, grabbing that knife and breaking it with like his bare hand, and that right there, in my opinion, was very impressive. But then while we have Aoi and Makoto escaping, we do learn that for some reason he has a very strange like forbidden action where he cannot run, or I believe he cannot run in the halls. But regardless, now to me it was like rather weird. But that right there led to this hilarious scene where we have Aoi actually carrying Makoto, and she was saying normally that right there would be the other way around, and of course that right there is true. So while that was going on, we see now that at one point the Great Gozo actually got pushed back by the former president, and to me I was like shocked by that. Now don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying that the Great Gozo can be beaten, but seeing him actually go flying through like a wall and seeing him like on the ground like that, against one guy, I do kind of wish that they would have showed that fight a little more. But then we have like the brains of the operation. I believe her name is Miss Gecko Hara. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. But this girl, she was also one of the ones who actually wanted to help Makoto and Aoi. And so then we see that after Aoi was like trying to use some fire extinguisher to actually help them escape once again, that one wasn't working, so she threw it, and we see now that right there did help like create some space between the former president and the great Gozo. And so we see now that Gozo used his insanely powerful strength to actually, make a hole in the floor. And this guy did it with like an elbow press. And so to me, that right there did get me like somewhat hyped. And we see now that he was the one who was carrying Makoto. And so right now, like while they were all running away, we did see that the president actually threw a sword at Makoto, but this guy acted fast and like closed the door behind him, and for some reason the president did not chase him anymore after that. And so to me, that right there got me thinking maybe his forbidden action, even though this right here is weird like Makoto's, is that he cannot open doors. And I don't know why it's like that, but to me, just seeing him not chase him anymore, that right there did seem like the case in like his scenario right there. And so pretty much we now have Miss Gekuhara, Aoi, Makoto, and the Great Gozo. They were like barricading themselves into this room where they were talking, and we see now that Koyoko, the old looking guy, and the one who needs sleep, those three were together, while we have the Musclehead and the former vice president, or president, they were together, and we also had that couple like walking around as well. So right now we have a lot of characters, splitting up, but our main focus was definitely on the Makoto group and the vice and the president and the Muzzlehead duo, because right now I'm trying to think back to the spare side where we saw Chisa looking at a picture, and I definitely recall seeing her and the president. But that third guy had to be the Musclehead because he was definitely concerned about her, and also he was saying that they must avenge her, and apparently this guy will protect the president no matter what, while also killing someone or killing anyone who he suspects. So right now this guy had no problem by taking a life. And so hopefully, he did not get that chance. And I'm not saying that I want him to die, but if he does, I personally would not be affected by it. But moving on now, going back to the Makoto group, we have Aoi, like she was so scared because this right here was pretty much like Danganronpa 1, where we have the entire world like watching this. And so of course now, now we have Makoto acting cool, saying, believe in him and his luck, but just believe in him because he would definitely make everything all right. And so, like I said at the beginning of my review, that right there was a very beautiful scene, but at the same time, it was like raising so many flags, especially, like when she thanked them when the sleeping drug was like being injected. You could tell something was like definitely going to go down. And we see now that when Makoto actually woke up, like we saw the blood on his hand, and so we all know that it definitely had to be Aoi because she was like the closest one to him. And not to mention like Monokuma, just seeing him pop up on the screen and talking to the attacker, I do kind of wish that maybe they could have hinted at who it was. But now that we know that it was Aoi, and seeing that door that led to that room was like still blocked off, we already know that it's only between two people. And right now, I really do not want to suspect like the great Gozo, especially the way he was like talking to Makoto, because he was like definitely trying to cheer him up. And not to mention, this guy also saw like the first killing game with them. So this guy definitely has high hopes for Makoto, which is why, unfortunately, I believe that the only one who could have done this was Miss Gekuhara, unless there's like some entrance into that room that we have like no idea about. But at the same time, because she was the one who also worked on the Neo World program, I don't see her being capable of doing that. But at the same time, this right here could be, this right here could be another twist, just like killing off Aoi was. Oh, and not to mention, like, I do wonder why that Musclehead has, like, such high hopes for the former president, because he was saying that as long as this guy can survive, the Future Foundation can be rebuilt. And so to me, like, I definitely do hope that we find out why, these two, or why this guy trusts him so much, because I'm pretty sure it's just more than, like, being friends. But regardless, now, this episode, to me, it was shocking because my favorite character from the first game is now gone. And so that right there, I definitely have to deal with. But at the same time, I'm thinking that Makoto, Makoto has to find this attacker, like, no matter what. Just do it for her, man. Find the attacker for her. But as always, let me know what you guys thought. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps me out. And as always, you guys take it easy. I will see you all next time.